I'm just walking, I'm gonna go ahead, and I can't make that jump. Oh no, what am I gonna do? I can't make that jump. Well, looks like there's only one thing left to do. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Let's Play Spongebob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. My name is Nedia16, and today we're going to be playing as our third and final playable character. In the last episode, we arrived here at downtown Bikini Bottom, the second world of the game, and we explored everything the main area in downtown Bikini Bottom has to offer. And in this episode, we came up here to the top of these rooftops with impassable gaps and a bus stop. That can only mean one thing. We now have our third and final playable character, Sandy. Yes, I said fine. We've only been playing as Sandy. Suck it up. We're going to be playing as Sandy in this episode and covering everything that she can do. Like, do this. This looks really funny. But we're not going to learn what she can do unless we actually play. So let's go and get started. Sandy's big gimmick is that she can get collectible Spongebob can't. Okay, well that is true. That's not what that's for. Sandy's big gimmick is by double jumping and hovering in the air by holding the A button. Sandy can hover with her lasso. You hover for about 6 seconds, I think. Just about 6 seconds. And Sandy is the platformer of the group. SpongeBob's the more all-around. SpongeBob is the more all-around, movement-based character whose goal is to get more things done. Patrick is the heavyweight, lifting and throwing things, and Sandy is the movement character based on jumping and flying. This dynamic is very reminiscent of something like Sonic Heroes, if you've ever played that. And I like to consider this game pretty similar to Sonic Heroes in that... Yes. Sandy can karate chop. I like to consider this game pretty similar to Sonic Heroes in that you only really switch characters when you need to. It's not something like Donkey Kong 64 or Mario 64 DS or something like that, where you can play as any character you want, but certain characters require for certain actions. In this game, you really only ever play as the character you need to play. Most of the time, you're going to be playing as SpongeBob, and you only really need to switch whenever you are required to play as those characters. I don't really consider this a problem. I would have liked it to be able to play as more characters more often, because I think that's more fun. I think that would have been more fun, but I understand why they did it this way. So it's not a huge deal. I'm not really talking about what I'm doing. Over there on that building, we saw that if you press Y, you can use your lasso to hit up to, or press X, you can use your lasso to grapple robots and other objects, and we also killed a G-Lug down there by hitting it with our lasso. And these are swinger hooks. By jumping and pressing X when the arrow's on them, you'll grab onto them. You can also have the momentum, and you can get more momentum, and you can turn around and switch direction on them. Pretty simple. Other than that, though, Sandy also gets more distance if you were to lasso out of her kick, as you see right there. She gets more distance. Aside of that, I just missed. We've come over here to this first area where this jump right here was, and you drop down. There's a G-Lug that'll hurt you and a purple shiny object. And there's also this right here to allow you to exit out into either end if you need it. That right there, Surprising Everyone, is a fairly rare line of dialogue. You don't hear that one very often. You can do that. Not up there. Sandy can also lasso Shush Cheekies from a distance, so you don't need to, because Sandy cannot tiptoe. It's important to mention, I think. You can do this, see it over here. Yeah, I'll just do it this way. Use this to get up here, and then you can do this to get over here. This is how you're supposed to get that sock on top of this building over here, and I'll meet you guys back over at the area we just were, with the jump that I failed. All right, back up here with this jump that we failed earlier. I'm gonna come up here instead. Actually, I didn't want to do that. Never mind. I'll grab the shiny object, sure. Or no, I won't grab the shiny object, I guess. Alright, we're gonna do this right this time. Instead of going to that building first, stand on this and go this way. There's a sock on the back of it, don't miss that. That one's easy to miss because you actually won't be able to see it until you get the steering wheel on the other one, but if you're not looking for it, you probably will miss it. Outside of that, though, let's go and glide across this gap. This is the official term of this move. It's called gliding, not flying or lassoing or anything. It's called gliding. And we'll get Sandy's first shiny object. And she does a nice karate pose. Cool. As they say, land creatures are better than sea creatures.
Hey Larry, what's shaking?
Sandy! Boy, am I glad to see you. I need your help. My TV reception has been terrible lately. I need to have someone replace my old antenna with this shiny new one.
Yes, sir. That there antenna is shinier than a $3 bill. Well, why don't you replace it yourself?
I'm not really much of a jumper.
So, what's jumping got to do with it?
Because the old antenna is up there.
Woo! That's taller than a glass of Texas iced tea.
The robots have blocked off that building, and I can't do all those fancy moves you and Spongebob do to get across these gaps. All I can do is flex. Wanna see?
Yeah, great. So what are you gonna do with the old antenna?
Oh, that? It's yours if you replace it with a new one.
Well, I have been getting bad TV reception in the tree dome. Okay, Larry, you got a deal.
This area looks a lot more complicated than it actually is. But once you know your way through it, you realize it's fairly linear and not that hard at all. Very first thing you want to do is to jump right behind and turn around. In the starting area, this is actually the area where you came out. There's a bus stop on the back. The floating bus, it drove off in the distance. By hitting this button to Spongebob, a trampoline will appear. You can fly up to this windmill, or this propeller, and get a sock on it. Again, that's another one that you can miss if you're not careful. Alright, I have to show it off. You can actually get this spatula by cheesing it. If you really want to, hold left, jump, spin. Okay. You want to jump earlier than you think you have to. Because if you jump too early... There. Do that and you can get up there. But we're going to do the spatula legitimately. So, if you want to cheese it that way, you definitely can. That's also another speedrunning trick that I know. So just be wary about that if that's the route you want to take. I've already mentioned this as the other characters, but I really like what they did with Sandy's dialogue in this game. Very reminiscent of the show, and it's probably one of my favorite aspects of this game is Sandy's dialogue. One of my least favorite aspects of this game, though, and we go back into this space drift. This is Chuck. Doesn't look so tough yet. Believe me, it is. Chuck shoots missiles that have a shockwave when they hit and also do damage if they hit you. Chuck's missiles are extremely accurate, and because it's in the air, it's very hard to hit. You either have to use Sandy's Lasso, like we just did, or SpongeBob's uppercut bash can also hit them if you're standing directly underneath them. Chuck will always be in very compromising locations and will be very, very hard to kill in those locations, so you have to be really careful about where he is, and always watch out for him because 9 times out of 10, if you're not paying attention, he will hit you and you won't like it. Probably my least favorite robot in this game. It is extremely annoying, and You always know where they're there. They're not hard to miss at all because they're always in basically the same locations. They're very predictable locations. You just are never expecting them and you're always going to get hit by them. We have a clam here that makes all these swinger hooks pop down once we feed it for some reason. This is how you're supposed to get that spatula on top of the building that we just showed that you can trampoline to the top of. I almost missed that. The range on the swinger hooks is good, as I failed to jump. Luckily there's a checkpoint right here, so if you do fail, it's not a huge deal. Please button, please, thank you. Funny you should mention that, Sandy, because here on screen is the original texture, the unused texture for buttons. Cool, huh? So buttons are always big and red. Cool. You have 40 seconds to get across. It's not that hard. The range on the swinger hooks is larger than you think it is, and the controls on the swinger hooks is very fluent and very easy. So it's nothing too major. It's not that difficult at all. Just jump right across and get the spatula on top. Plenty of time to spare. You can go farther down underneath the swinger hooks than you think you might be able to, and they're pretty lenient on where you can actually go, and their range is a lot further than you might think it is, so don't worry about it too much. You can also double jump and glide out of a swinger hook, so they're really only there to cross gaps. There isn't really anything else to them much. Kind of want to kite that guy a little bit because it'll hit you if you don't. If it hits you, and a very bad time because you're going to get launched in the other direction. And we're up here now. This is a entry checkpoint. This is a checkpoint that doesn't technically exist. This is a checkpoint that doesn't technically exist. However, if you were to die, you would respawn there, even though it isn't stated. We have this very squeaky conveyor belt, which I don't know how these things got in the air like this. Maybe it's like a mid-air assembly line, who knows. Swinger hooks carry your momentum, as you saw right there, so if you hit them with a lot of momentum, you're going to go out of a lot of momentum, that can help you cross out your gaps. Excuse me. You want to kind of go at... You want to kind of attack G-Loves with Sandy's lasso farther away than you might think you have to. Because while they do move slow, if you're not careful and you attack them too close, they will still hit you. Up here, if you're not dead center on that first trampoline, you're not going to make that. And there's another checkpoint. You can also lasso individual tikis for some strange reason. Here's another chuck. Don't get hit by that. You can't just jump and kick him. I like the cocking sound he makes when he readies his missile though. It's pretty awesome. And we have more floating platforms. Wow, I almost messed up that jump. On this one over here is a steering wheel, and on this one over here, purple shiny object. Don't worry, Sandy, we will make use of all of them. Believe me. I get that if you're curious. That still hit me. Okay, that was cool. I've never seen that happen before. Apparently, what happened there was I somehow locked on. I somehow locked onto the G-Love. I locked onto the G-Love even though it's in free fall. That looked really weird, actually. You can't just... Excuse me. There we go. You can't just do that. You can lasso Thunder Tikis and they won't damage you. Platforms are weighted, so make them... The smooth jazz that plays here is so condescending because every time you die and you just go into silence of nothing and just falling through the void, you see the boom, 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 boom. That just sounds like the 2.5 Men theme song, to be honest with you. Anyway, platforms are weighted, so raise one end, jump to the other end. Very, very simple.
I'm getting dizzy just watching.
A lot of Sandy's gameplay is just spacing out the enemy and using your lasso to take them out. And what can I say? A lot of Sandy's gameplay is just lassoing the enemy, waiting to take them out, and then just using the platforms to make
I suppose it'll make Patrick happy.
using the platforms and the swinger hooks to cross large gaps and be very floaty and very mobile. That's the main gimmick of Sandy's gameplay. I don't know why it took me so long to get that thought through my head. This Chuck is super, super annoying. If you're a first-time player, and even some experienced players, you're bound to get hit by that Chuck at least once. It's a gold spatula, and we didn't get the fanfare because this game is bad. Okay, that's not true in the slightest, but there's a lot of audio going on right there, so the fanfare doesn't play on that spatula for some reason. Pretty funny. Back to Spongebob. Spongebob is now going to be needed because Sandy doesn't have a ground pound move, and unlike a lot of 3D platformers, in this game there isn't any... Well, I shouldn't say that. SpongeBob will get move upgrades, but he's the only one. Sandy and Patrick do not have move upgrades that they get. Only SpongeBob will get the move upgrades. I have to say Larry, actually.
What's happening, SpongeBob?
Hey, Larry.
What's happening, SpongeBob? Larry is going to be very important later on. Just be worried about that. I would go and end the episode, but this next area isn't going to take very long. So I'll go and do it. Because that last area wasn't long either. Are you ready, kids? Ready, set, go. This is... Technically, it's an arena. That's what I like to call it, even though it's not technically what it is. Essentially what this is it's going to have a set number of robots that you need to defeat, and you can only progress once you defeat that set number of robots. Usually the health in here is limited, and usually they're pretty difficult, and they usually have some sort of gimmick. As you can see, the gimmick here is the lighthouse is crumbling. And the floor is also spinning. There are a few of these in the game. Only 2 of them in the entire game are in an actual level. A lot of them are in the overworlds. Uh-oh, am I dying here actually? 2 duplicator-trons on either end, so make sure you kill both of them before you do anything else. These arena areas can actually be pretty difficult because you're oftentimes fighting a lot of robots at once, and the robots are pretty tough, and especially when you got things like Chucks, Tardars, all these. You got pretty overwhelming robots sometimes, and they can be pretty tough, all things considered. This one right here in the lighthouse is not that bad at all. But either way. Quite a few things here at the bottom of the lighthouse. You have the golden spatula, a steering wheel, and a button, which I missed. The button is actually important, though. God, these videos are going to be impossible to edit because of just how many socks you get right in a row in downtown. Like, you get so many socks in such a short amount of time in downtown, it's insane. Other than that, though...
You'll have to open this door from the inside. Hey there, Sponge.
We did open the door from the inside.
Hey there.
You actually can't enter back in for some reason, but you can go back into the map and enter that way if you want. We only have one more sock left in downtown, which we're actually not going to get, because the final sock in downtown is an area we can't access yet. No, it's not the Sea Needle, it's an area we can't access in the Sea Needle. Speaking of the Sea Needle, excuse me. So we're heading next. Next time on Let's Play SpongeBob SquarePants Battle of Bikini Bottom, we are entering Sea Needle. If you like this part, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and stick around for more content. See you guys then. Peace out.